know, he's kidding. Okay, why didn't I didn't get one of those? Oh, actually, it's right here. Jesus. I'm looking right at it.
We ready?
Yes, sir?
Call the meeting to order. Let the record show that this is a regular city council meeting held on Monday, October 19th. All members of council are present. The press has been duly notified. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Item number 1 on the agenda is public comments. Are there any public comments? There being none, close public comments. But hang in there, we'll do it once again at the end of the meeting. Item number 2 on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Council, before you, the regular city council meeting minutes of September 21st. Are there any corrections or deletions to those minutes? Hearing none, those minutes stand approved. Item number 3 on the agenda is a presentation by the police department. Chief Parker, would you step to the podium, please?
I want to take a second tonight to recognize Hope McBride. Unbelievable job in assisting us in starting the Camp Cadet program. Got a recommendation to call Hope, and maybe she might help us out. Guilty as charged. That recommendation could not have been better. We've been going through a process of becoming a 501c3 affiliated Camp Cadet that's going to help children ages rising 6th, 7th, and 8th graders go to a free camp. Today was our first golf tournament, our first annual golf tournament. I'm happy to say that we believe we've raised $9,000 for campers to go to the camp for free and $9,000 to give to Sergeant Anthony White.
Wow.
But I want to say that I'm very proud with Major Nelson, and I know Major wants to say a word as well. But at this right here, we wanted to recognize your dedicated service by presenting you with a Good Citizenship Award, and thank you very much for everything you did for us.
Well, ironically, when Chief Parker first came to me and said he wanted to pursue 501c3 status and put me in charge, I kind of chuckled because apparently he doesn't know my lack of intelligence on that. But thank goodness we had Hope, who was able to bail me out and make me look remarkably well for an occasion. And boy, she was not just instrumental, she handled it, just to be blunt. And she did it for us, and she certainly deserves the recognition, so thank you again.
Yeah, it's a great program, and I'm honored to be able to help with it, and going forward, we'll be doing whatever they need me to do, so
Thank you so much, Hope.
Thank you. Hey, Hope, I just want to mention one thing, okay? If you get caught doing a good thing by the police chief, you usually get a coupon for Brewster's ice cream cone. I think he gypped you.
That's
Because
right.
I don't see the coupon for the
You
ice
can
cream
buy
cone.
a lot of ice cream with
I don't
my
see the
favorite
coupon
tip
for the ice cream cone.
No coupon.
Thank you, Hope.
I'm not going to shake because I may be germy, you know. I don't want to get you sick.
Good job, thank you.
No.
Not at all.
Yeah. That's fantastic. They're good fundraisers.
Exactly. Item number 3B on the agenda is the volunteer fire department. Before I do that, council, I just want to mention to you that I've received comments from people that they can't hear us So if you would speak into your microphones, that would be better. I would appreciate it. Again, item number 3B on the agenda is the proclamation of the Volunteer Fire Department. A proclamation recognizing the TGK Volunteer Fire Department. Whereas the city of TGK recognizes the importance of the Volunteer Fire Department in its underlying commitment to the community, and whereas the TGK Volunteer Fire Department assists in providing safety to the growing population of approximately 10,000 citizens within the city of TGK, and whereas the TGK Volunteer Fire Department has grown from a few volunteer firefighters to many today who commit to the rigorous safety training and the fire education, and whereas land and water safety is important for the well-being of the residents and visitors, and whereas the TGK Volunteer Fire Department has dedicated more than 40 years of service while putting themselves at risk during fire, ice, snow, and severe weather events, and whereas the TGK Volunteer Fire Department deserves to be recognized for the achievement and selfless dedication on the 24/7 basis for more than 40 years. Now therefore be proclaimed that the mayor and the city council of TGK, South Carolina, do hereby proudly call the TGK Fire Department to receive the unwavering gratitude of its citizens for more than 40 years of volunteer service to the community, which has improved the quality of life for the city of TGK. Signed today, October 19th, 2015. Would you guys, Floyd, would you bring your buddies up here? And I'm going to ask council to come down in front too, please. Who would like to get this? Well, Bill is the president of the, I'm going to give it to Floyd. And if you guys would just allow us to jump in here a little bit and take some pictures, come on over here. Have a photo op. Council, you want to get in there? Get in around?
Here, I'll go over here.
There you go.
Are we good? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hadn't seen you either.
Before you guys go, Scott, could I say a few more words? Thank you. I don't know if the community knows, but the TGK Volunteer Fire Department started in the kitchen of Dave Nelson. It was the need of a fire department that was needed in our city, and as always, the citizens rise to the occasion of something that we need. And that's where the fire department started 40 years ago in Dave Nelson's kitchen, which is pretty impressive. The fire department has done some phenomenal things in the city and protects us all the time. When we have storm events, they are there, they're the first ones. And I always say, and, okay, Steve Parker's gone. They are the first ones, as everyone else is running out of a building or running out of a problem, the fire department is always running in. And it's incredible the amount of things that they have done for this city and what they've done not only for this city, but around the state. They've gone on hurricane, where there's a need for them to go on hurricane rescues and things like that. They're more than willing to do that. And we are so proud to have you guys as the only fire department in York County with an ISO rating of 2. And the only fire department in York County that does not receive any subsidies from the county. It's all subsidized by the city of TGK. Phenomenal. Thank you very much. This is yours also. Dale, would you grab this for me, please?
Like I'm at the State of the Union. Up, down, up, down.
Item number 3C on the agenda is the proclamation of Community Planning Month.
It is? Oh, yeah, I missed that.
Whereas change is constant and affects all cities, towns, counties, communities, rural areas, and other places. Whereas community planning and plans can help manage this change in a way that provides better choices for how people live and work. Whereas community planning provides an opportunity for all residents to be meaningfully involved in the making choices that determine the future in their community. And whereas the full benefits of planning requires public officials and citizens who understand, support, and demand the excellence in planning and plan implementation. And whereas the month of October is designated as the National Community Planning Month throughout the United States of America and its territories. Whereas National Community Planning Month provides an opportunity to highlight the contributions sound planning and plan implementation make it equally of our settlements and environment, and gives us a forum to publicly recognize the participation and dedication of the members of the Planning Commission and other citizen planners who have contributed their time and exercise to the improvement of TGK, South Carolina. Whereas we recognize that many valuable contributions made by professional community and regional planners in TGK, York County, and the state of South Carolina, and extend our heartfelt thanks for the continued commitment to public service of these officials. Now therefore be it resolved that the month of October 2015 is hereby designated as Community Planning Month in the city of TGK, South Carolina, in conjunction with the celebration of the National Community Planning Month, adopted today, October 19th, 2015. Thank you very much. And next year, can we do a shorter one? Item number 4 on the agenda is the unfinished business, which is the second reading of an ordinance to amend the ordinance 470 fiscal year 2014-15 general fund. City Manager Charlie Funderburg.
Thank you. As the mayor stated, this is the second reading of an amendment to amend our FY 14-15 general fund budget. As City Council has already given favorable first read, we would ask for a favorable second at this time.
Council, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to make a motion to approve the second reading of an ordinance to amend ordinance 470 FY 2014-2015 general fund budget.
I have a motion by Dottie Hersey. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Chris Lambic Larson. Any discussion? There being none, call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 4B on the agenda is the second reading of ordinance number 77. City Manager Charlie Funderburg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of council, tonight is the second reading of amendments to ordinance 77. At your last meeting, you did give favorable first read on the proposed amendments that are in front of you tonight, which include everything from the last month, with the exception of the portions on mini storage warehouses and chickens. So, at council's direction, following that motion, those two items have been pulled out, and the rest have remained intact as you saw at first read, and we would ask for council's favorable second at this time.
Thank you, Charlie. Council, entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the second reading of amendments to ordinance 77.
I have a motion by Chris Lambic Larson. Do I have a second?
Second. Second
by Jennifer Stalford. Any council discussion? There being none, call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 4C on the agenda is the second reading of an ordinance number 50. City Manager Charlie Funderburg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. This is your land development code with a number of amendments to that code that council went through last month along with a public hearing. As council did give favorable first read, we would ask for a favorable second at this time.
Mr. Mayor and council, I motion to approve the second reading of the amendments to ordinance number 50.
I have a motion by Ron Kirby. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dottie Hersey. Any council discussion? There being none, call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimous. Item number 4D on the agenda is the second reading of ordinance to revise Chapter 38 of the City Code of Laws. City Manager Charlie Funderburg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Chapter 38 is the section on our Parks and Recreation. As we do on an annual basis, reviewing our code to update sections as needed. As council has given favorable first read on this amendment, we would ask for a favorable second at this time.
Thank you, Charlie. Council, entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance to revise Chapter 38 of the city's Code of Laws as it relates to the Parks and Recreation.
I have a motion by Chris Lambic Larson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ron Kirby. Any council discussion? There being none.
I would just like to note that there's been some confusion in the community that these are new laws, but they're not. And I just want to let everybody know that. These are not.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other council discussion? There being none, call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 5A on the agenda is the approval of letter of credit and performance. City Manager Charlie Funderburk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Tonight before you is consideration for approval of a letter of credit and performance labor and materials surety agreement for Cameron Creek Phase 4. Your city attorney has reviewed the LOC and found it to be in order. You've also got the engineer's statement of probable cost, as well as the executed labor and materials, or excuse me, approved labor and materials surety agreement in the amount of $204,954.50. And we would ask for council's favorable approval at this time.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, motion to approve the letter of credit and performance labor and material surety agreement for Cameron Creek Phase 4 in the amount of $204,954.50.
Motion by Jennifer Stalford. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dottie Hersey. Any council discussion? There being none, call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Item number 5B on the agenda is the introduction of first reading of an ordinance to amend 482. City Manager Charlie Funderburk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As council will recall, earlier this calendar year, we did amend Chapter 54 of the city's code as it relates to utilities to put together a comprehensive utility plan. That was prior to our new utilities director coming on board. Now that he's had an opportunity to review it and go through it, he has made suggested changes. I have reviewed those changes, and they are, along with our engineer, and they do keep in practice with best management practices. We would ask for council's favorable read at this time.
Thank you, Charlie. Council entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor and council, I motion to approve the introduction and first reading of an ordinance to amend ordinance 482 in regards to utilities.
I have a motion by Ron Kirby. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Chris Lambic Larson. Any discussion?
Yeah, I thought I saw something on this one. I'm just looking at it again. Wasn't this one that said something about theft of a tap or something? Did that
Yes,
come
ma'am.
out?
No, ma'am. This, the only thing that we've got before you tonight are the sections that we're recommending changes on. The rest of that chapter still stays intact. I believe you're referring to theft of utilities,
Yeah.
where people are turning their own meters back on after they were shut off
Oh,
or
maybe,
disconnected and things of that
I
nature.
didn't think it was that, because I thought I read it in line with reading these changes, but,
Oh,
but I don't see it now, so you may be correct. No, here it is. In section 5A,
Yeah, there it is.
and it just simply says, theft of a meter. It's like the third line from the bottom. And that's not a change, that's language that obviously was there before.
that's correct.
And I'm not living or dying for it, but, theft connotes to me some kind of a crime, if you will. And I'm not saying that this isn't a crime, but it's not, I don't know that it is. I'm not sure if the wording theft is proper, I guess, is all I'm saying. It bothered me.
In this specific section, they have basically rented the meter from us, the hydrant meter.
Yeah.
And by failing to return it and taking it off, they've basically stolen the meter from us.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I
failing
know
to
they're gonna
return it.
pay, as it says, they would be charged, et cetera, et cetera. I just, the language bothered me, and then I didn't know if it was it was problematic at all, if it's not, in accordance with other codes of law about crimes. And I don't know if there's a conflict or not. So, other than that, I'm good with it. And I'm not bad with it with that, I'm just putting that out there as a comment.
Jen, do you have anything? No. You guys good? Call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 5C on the agenda is a resolution for financing of the pool resurfacing deck. City Manager Charlie Funderburk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As council will recall, with the passage of the FY 15-16 Beach and Swim Center budget, that budget did envision financing the resurfacing of the plaster of the actual pool surface itself, as well as doing some expansion on the pool deck. As required by our financial institutions, council must also do a resolution at the time of financing. We bring this before you tonight so that we can get moving on that project before it does get too cold out. The amount is for $45,000. The bank is South State Bank. It's financing for 7 years. Pretty good interest rate at 2.742%. So we would ask for council's favorable approval at this time.
Charlie, does this motion need to have the amount in it?
Yeah, I got a problem with that.
Sure.
Okay.
Have we, I'm sorry,
ahead,
have
no.
we put this out for bid, correct?
Yes, sir.
So we know how much,
It's a not to exceed.
okay, so we know how much that is, okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, all right, I forgot that, I'm sorry.
Mis-
Council, entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution for financing the pool resurfacing and deck expansion at the Beach and Swim Center in an amount not to exceed $45,000.
I have a motion by Dottie Hersey, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jennifer Stalford. Any council discussion?
Yes. I thought you said 45,000 and change. Is that correct?
It's not to exceed 45,000.
Okay.
Charlie, what's the life expectancy of the pool resurfacing? I understand this last one far exceeded what it was supposed to.
Generally, they, according to manufacturer specifications, 12 to 15 years.
Okay, great.
Any other? Call the question, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 5D on the agenda is the resolution for financing of the water jetting unit. City Manager Charlie Funderburk.
1 second. Mr. Mayor, do we have a second on that last one?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
You did? Okay.
Jen Stoffer did.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Is with the previous item in the 15-16 stormwater budget that was approved, it did envision financing of this jetter, water jetting pump to clean out storm sewer lines. The amount is $50,000, $50,084.30. The financing will be with BB&T. They were the low bid on that. And this is sole source and through state contract on the actual piece of equipment at 1.77% interest for 5 years.
Mr. Mayor and council, I motion to approve the resolution for the financing of a water jetting unit for the stormwater department.
Motion by Ron Kirby, do I have a second?
You want to put the amount in there?
It's an amount not to exceed $51,000.
That works? Motion by Ron Kirby, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Chris Lambic Larson. Any council discussion?
Yes. So this is a purchase, not a lease?
That is correct.
Okay.
They just call it lease purchase agreement, but it
Okay,
is
so
a
it's
purchase. We'll loan it.
it's a modified a lease to
Yes, sir.
own, lease to own.
Yes, sir.
Any other council discussion? Call the question, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 5E on the agenda is a resolution for financing of a utility truck and TK Police Department vehicles. City
Thank you.
Manager Charlie Funderburk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Since these are similar items, we put them out for financing bid as a package deal, which actually worked in our favor. You've got one utility truck as well as 4 new police vehicles that were envisioned in your FY 15-16 utility and general fund budgets. The total amount on that finance is $139,555. It'll be allocated accordingly between the budgets. The financial institution that won the bid on this one is BB&T at an interest rate of 1.356% for 4 years, and we would ask for council's favorable review at this time.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution for the financing of a utility truck and TCPD vehicles in an amount not to exceed $139,555.
A motion by Dottie Hersey, do I have a second?
Second for discussion.
Second by Ron Kirby for discussion. Go ahead.
Charlie, on these leases, I assume that the reason we went with two different leases on the equipment and the truck, and the vehicles, because one is an equipment lease? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. But we're paying a higher rate on the equipment lease?
That is correct.
Money factor is what again? I'm sorry?
What's that now?
Money factor on the Jetta is what, how much?
1.77% on the Jetta and 1.356 on the vehicles.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Any other council questions? Call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimous. Item number 5F on the agenda, which is the resolution for financing of installing lights at Rundy Park. City Manager Charlie Funderburk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Again, in the FY 15-16 capital projects budget, council did envision replacing the old ball field lights up at Rundy Park. The resolution before you tonight is in the amount of $217,881 with, again, BB&T. And this one is at 2.39%, and the finance terms on that is at 10 years. And this will be the steel poles, with the visors and everything, just like what we've got down at Turner. So it should kill a lot of that light pollution we have around Rundy, as well as adequately light that at the levels that it needs to be.
Thank you, Charlie. Council, entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution for the financing of installation of lights at Rundy Park in an amount not to exceed $217,881.
A motion by Dottie Hurst. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Chris Lambic Larson. Any council discussion? When can we do this?
They're going to, the poles are here. And we will begin, they will begin work, and I'm thinking it's the second week of November, as soon as fall sports end.
Perfect.
They're going to get started.
Perfect. Call the question. Anyone else have any discussion? Call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 5G on the agenda is the bid to award the T-Cud Sewer Rehab Project.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As council is aware, with the purchase or acquisition of the TCUD 2 system, SCDHEC did put us under pretty tight timelines and with specifications on here's what you got to do and here's how quickly you've got to get it done. Through the PER that was approved by DHEC back in March of this year, and then subsequently the construction permit issued by DHEC, we have put out successful bids. I was very happy with the numbers that came in. As if you will recall, as we were doing our financial forecast modeling, we'd envisioned on having to borrow about $6.5 million for the repairs and rehabilitation. And I think and I'm sorry, I don't have the number right in front of me.
5.6.
Yeah, 5.6.
Yeah.
So about $1 million under, which is very good. It is 3 separate projects. And I believe you've got the motion up there in front of you that spells out who the successful bidders were. This will be a tentative award contingent upon us receiving those SRF funds. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Chris, you want to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to issue a tentative award to Prism Contractors and Engineers for the gravity sewer rehabilitation, the amount of $2,333,341.76. Construction Resources Group for collection systems improvements in the amount of $477,000. And the Harper Corporation for wastewater treatment plant improvements in the amount of $2,830,000, contingent upon successful obtaining adequate funding from SCDHEC State Revolving Fund.
Motion by Chris Lambic Larson. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, but I don't know if there was a mistake in the motion made. I think that
That's impossible.
Chris said for the collection system improvements, I think he said 477,000. The letter we have says 447,000. I'm not sure which one's correct.
The motion does say 477. All right. So
Can
would
I,
you-
just for the
retract.
records, it does
I'll
say-
retract my second
All right. You want me to
for the correction.
447?
It's
Yes.
447. Good catch.
Hey, can I tell you?
The whole thing?
Yes, please.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to retract my first motion. I would like to continue to make my second motion. A motion to issue a tentative award to Prism Contractors and Engineers for the gravity sewer rehabilitation in the amount of $2,333,341.76. Construction Resources Group for the collection systems improvement in the amount of $447,000. And the Harper Corporation for the wastewater treatment plant improvements in the amount of $2,830,000, contingent upon successfully obtaining adequate funding from SC DHEC State Revolving Fund.
Motion by Chris Lamrick Larson, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ron Kirby. Any council discussion? There being none, call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 6 on the agenda is the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Just a few items here. Just a reminder, the York County Chamber is holding its State of the County breakfast on Friday, October 23rd. That's this Friday from 7:30 to 9 at the City Club in Rock Hill. Thank you to everyone who donated items from around the community for those devastated by the recent flooding in the Columbia area. I'd also like to thank members of the fire department that helped out as far as collecting and delivering. We had right at about 8.5 to 9 tons worth of waters and canned goods and cleaning supplies and things like that. One thing you can always count on for TKK, folks step up and help out. So really, really proud of everyone for that. As Chief Parker mentioned earlier, Camp Cadet Golf Tournament held this morning was a big success. I'd like to thank everybody that participated in that. The Fall Festival is this Saturday, right out here in the parking lot of the Glennon Center. I believe those times are from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yes, sir.
The Fort Mill High School's Weekly Buzz. So if you don't have a high school student, you may not know what that is. A group of talented high school students, they film a weekly news series. They play it every Friday in the televisions over at the high school. They send us a copy, and we're airing that on our channel 115 at 6 a.m., 4:30 p.m., and 6 p.m. daily. So just before the morning and evening runs of the council meeting, and then we try to wait till the kids get out of school and show the afternoon one. But they've won several Emmys over the years. Extremely talented. Karin McKimmey, TKK resident, is their teacher, producer.
You got to be a little careful with that teacher thing. She
Yeah.
doesn't want, she wants to be known as one, but, they're really not giving her that whole teacher thing. But, it's a little sore subject, and hope she's not listening.
She does a great job with them, and they're very talented. So again, that's at 6 a.m., 4:30 p.m., and 6 p.m. daily, running on channel 115. And the council meetings are at 7, 1, and 7. So 7 a.m., 1 p.m., and 7 p.m. daily. Tuesday, October 27th, Candidates Forum. It'll be right here in this room, beginning at 6:30 p.m. I think they're doing a meet and greet
Here?
starting at around 6,
Yes.
right next door.
It's upstairs.
No, it's
No,
here.
No,
it's
here?
in here.
Oh.
It will be aired live on channel 115, and we will replay it several times throughout the day until election day. So tune in and watch that, and look forward to it. Election day, don't forget to get out to vote on November 3rd. All polling centers will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Deer survey. They're coming in here in a couple weeks, between Halloween and Thanksgiving. They'll be working with our staff,
need to.
members of our staff. So once we've got an exact date, right now we've got a range, but as soon as we get the exact date, we'll try to let folks know. Primarily, they're going to be on the golf course areas, on the cart path and everything in the evenings. And hopefully by your December city council meeting, I'll have a report of some type back from DNR on that. So. And last but certainly not least, today we advertised the RFP for the proposed new fire station over in Stonecrest. So come January 7th, those are due. Advertise it as a design build, and we'll see what kind of numbers we're looking at come January on that. So and that's all I have for my report tonight, sir.
Thank you, Charlie. Council, any questions for Charlie? There being none, move on.
I have some then, okay. So,
Now that you're moving on, we have some, hold on.
Charlie, does staff still plan on revisiting the sign ordinance to get that more meshed per se with the comprehensive plan? Originally, I was told it was probably gonna start in the fall time, but I didn't know if other priorities have come up.
No, we got through the ordinance 77 stuff that we needed to get through, and I envision that our planning and developmental services staff will be taking a good hard look at that this fall, have something for you, hopefully in the coming months.
Okay, great. And the other question was, when is the RFP due back for the restaurant and event center space?
It's in December. If you give me 1 minute, I will tell you.
December 7th.
Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
I
December
saw it
7th.
online, though. Great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else?
Charlie, did you say that the candidates forum, I know you said it'll be here, and did you say it was going to continuously run?
Yes, ma'am. We'll be replaying it multiple times.
Good.
Every day until up until Election Day.
Perfect, thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we put that on the website too? So that-
Yes. It'll also be on the website.
can
We've
watch
got a
it while you're at
YouTube
it.
channel.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it'll
if
be
it's
there.
on the website, I will.
Mm-hmm.
If it's streaming live, you mean?
No, I was just
No.
talking about
No,
hanging
we
it
can't stream
afterwards.
live.
Oh.
Yeah.
It'll be up there within a
that's fine.
day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. Item number 7 on the agenda, public comments. Are there any public comments? There being none, we close to item number 9 on the, item number 8 on the agenda, council comments. Dottie, would you like to start us off?
I don't have any comments, thank you.
Ron?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, the police department, their first golf tournament, they worked really hard. Lieutenant Vince worked tirelessly. He's not a golfer, but he did a good job, an excellent job. And Charlie, your team let us down a little bit today. And I hate that I couldn't play. It was rescheduled, but they had a really good turnout considering the move back of 2 weeks.
For the record, I wasn't playing either. So.
No, I know. I know, but I had to, as I was out here this morning, the challenge kept going on between us and someone else. You know who I'm speaking of. Number 2, I'd like to say my hat's off to the staff, Charlie, Public Works. The grounds are really coming together. I know I've hawked you, for lack of better words, for a long time and doing a really good job. It looks good. Last thing is, please remember the Miller family and the loss of Steve. Be 3 weeks ago tomorrow, 55 years old, a 20-year resident here. His wife Jackie and son Justin need your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Chris?
I guess the only thing I'd like to say to the residents that if you are in need of any information pertaining to the city, don't forget to go to our website, check our marquee board, and there's many other means of, or avenues, I should say, to get information about the city. So just a reminder about that.
Thank you, Chris. Jen?
Just want to say the beautification committee is having a work day on Wednesday morning despite the cool weather. So bring your gloves and weeding tools if you have any. We'll be there from 8 to 10. And we'll also have a booth at the upcoming Fall Festival. We're going to sell the pavers for the Living Memorial Gardens and TK shirts, sweatshirts, and hats. And all the proceeds go to the Living Memorial Gardens maintenance costs. And I also want to say I really appreciate all the months that staff and the Planning Commission put forth for Ordinance 77 and 50. A lot of the community thinks this was like a haphazard thing, but there were a lot of meetings and months work put into that. And then finally, Catawba Farm and Food Coalition. They serve the TK area, and they're a nonprofit group. They're going to be at the Fall Festival, so you guys should stop by. It's a great group, and so you can see what they're all about.
Thank you. I've just got a couple things. One, again, I want to reiterate the Fall Festival. It's a great way for the community to come together and spend the day. The CRC, Community Relations Committee, has put on a tremendous amount of work. I think we have 45 vendors, and I think there are 6 food trucks that are going to be out there, and there will be a beer garden is also going to be part of it. So that'll be a lot of fun. That's 11 to 5 on Saturday. Again, the York County Chamber Forum, it is so important for you to come to that forum and hear what the candidates have to say. And I am really glad that at least one of the candidates who are running, other than the incumbents, have decided to come to council meetings. It's really nice that at least one of you did. Lastly, with the vote that's coming up, you also have the York County has a referendum on there, which is $90 million that they are asking for in a referendum. So I suggest that you do your research on that so that you don't show up there on the day of voting and be surprised about that. It is for the Moss Justice Center and some other added improvements that they think they need to the courthouse. Get on the York County website and find out what that's all about and listen to your newspaper or read your newspaper and find out what's going on with that. That's all I have. Item number 9 is an executive session. Council entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to make a motion that we move into executive session to discuss contractual matters as related to TMS number 646-000021.
I have a motion by Dottie Hersey. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Chris Lambic Larson. Any council comments? Call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimous. We're in executive session.